These are some Purple Heart panels that are part of a frame and panel assembly that I've been working on. And thought of a couple of finishing tips that I wanted to share. So, one is in a situation like this where you have end grain exposed, if you sand this whole thing to the same level, for instance, these were sanded to 220 primarily, what will happen is when you put finish on this end grain, because this has all the wood pores exposed, this will actually become more saturated with your finish than the other surfaces which don't have the pores exposed. And the effect of that is this will be significantly darker along here than the rest of the panel. So one way that you can prevent that or minimize that is to sand the exposed end grain to a higher grit than the rest of the piece. So in this case, like I said, the entire thing is sanded to 220, and these ends are sanded then to 320 and then to 400. And so when you put the finish on, it will absorb less finish and kind of balance it out better with the amount of finish that will be absorbed in the rest of the piece. So that is the first tip, and something that I wish I would have known many years ago. The second thing, and probably one of the biggest improvements to my finishing in the 15 years or so that I've been doing woodworking, is the idea that if you can possibly finish something before it goes anywhere near glue, do it. In this case, I have all these frame components which these panels will go into. So I'm going to finish everything before I do any kind of gluing. And then even though I have a little bit more treatment to do, for example, I'm going to want to ease these edges and do some other sanding, I'm going to put a coat of finish on everything anyway. Obviously not the parts that will need to be glued, like the inside of these grooves or these tongues. And then if you get a good layer of finish on there, you can actually just wipe that glue off, and it won't compromise your finish quality in the end. I've tried taping. I've tried wiping with a damp rag. I've tried letting it semi-harden and then chisel it off, and I don't know. The only way that I've found that works well is to just get the finish on there in the first place, and then there's no chance of the glue getting into the wood and messing with your finish, because it really stands out like a sore thumb if you miss a spot, and it's pretty hard to tell sometimes where you've got glue, even though you've done your best to sand it off or whatever.